Good evening. How's everyone doing today?
Doing well, brother. It's good to see you.
Good to see you all. Um, Thank you for being on this Zoom. At the end of a long day. I'm sure that we all had, between work and business. I'm Vernard Alexander. I'm the owner of CKB Suites, which is a event space in Homewood on Homewood Avenue, right across from the busway. 1,200 square feet facility that folks rent out for a variety of different events. It has been in operations for a little over 2 years. I'm also the owner of the Minority Networking Exchange. I host a variety of business and social networking events. I do a lot of promotion work via social media for corporations, foundations, nonprofits, community organizations, business owners, and I have been partnering with the URA to host some events together. They started off with in-person events, but obviously, due to COVID-19, that has switched um, to some Zoom meetings, which have been pretty cool. In addition to everything that I do, um, I'm a consultant for Ford Cities, which is a North Carolina based national corporation. And what Ford Cities is doing here locally is working to build Western PA's entrepreneur support ecosystem. So I've been working on this project since last December. And what I do is I connect small businesses. Um, Most of them are, I think all of them are minority owned businesses. And I connect them to local ESOs, entrepreneur support organizations, to make sure that they get access to all the different resources that are out here and to make sure that they have opportunities to help scale and elevate their business. So I'm pretty excited to be a part of this tonight. I'm looking forward to hearing from everyone, but I'm especially looking forward to hearing from Mark Masterson. I think we all, have some questions and want to get that valuable information about the first round of PA Small Business Grant Recovery Grant that just closed and all that good stuff, and learning more about the URA programs and from the local Northside organizations that deal with entrepreneurship. So I'm excited that you guys are here, and I'm going to turn it over to Pierce Robinson now.
Thank you, Bernard. That was a great introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Pierce Robinson. I am a business solutions officer as well as the community affairs officer at the URA. Just to give you some context and some background, like Bernard said, we would try to, hold community events just to be able to showcase some of the programs and products that the URA offers, to make sure that the community is aware. But, due to COVID, that had to take sort of like a digital format. So we created a series called, Entrepreneur Check-In. Essentially, we're just trying to gauge and, get a pulse on, how businesses are faring, due to, the COVID crisis. And, just really wanted to give businesses an open space just to be able to, express some of their concerns, ask questions about different products, various things. So we're going to talk a little bit about the URA programs. That's not really what this is about. We're going to be very brief. We have some very great special guests representing the Northside organizations. So, we definitely want to get them, their due time. But I guess I'll start by just talking about for people, we talked about this a lot, but I mean, for people who don't know, the URA's COVID response was geared primarily around two main products. Our first product was the ELF, which was Emergency Loan Fund, and that was a product that was a zero interest loan that was up to $15,000. It was an extension of our microloan program. We tried to streamline the process as much as possible in order for us to get as much help out into the community for the businesses, as soon as we possibly could. That program was extremely successful, had very high numbers in terms of minority and women-owned business participation, and it was extremely successful. And I would say the sort of evolution or the big brother of the ELF was our recovery fund, which was, there's the recovery fund right there, up to $75,000 for businesses who need a higher amount, financing threshold, really similar terms, quite a little bit more paperwork, but we tried to streamline that process as well. That has been received extremely well in terms of minority business participation, women-owned business participation. And it's a good and a bad thing that both of these funds are probably going to close pretty soon because, they're oversubscribed, we're running out of money, but, we are definitely pleased and excited about, the help that we are able to provide, some of our small businesses, in a short turnaround. I definitely tip my hat off to our lending department because, they were working around the clock, hiring extra staff just to make sure that we were able to process these loans to give the businesses the help that they needed. So like I said, both of the funds will be closing pretty soon. They're still open, so you can actually still apply, but I just wanted to, just put that out there that, those will be, closing soon. I'm sorry, Josette, were you going to say something?
No, Pierce, just an update on that. The emergency loan, the $15,000 0% interest loan is closing July 31st.
Okay.
Actually, the $75,000 loan is going to go as long as we have funding for it.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that is going
for everyone. Yeah, that it's like we're at a sort of first come first served basis, but it's been received extremely well, and both programs have been extremely successful, and we're definitely proud of. So with that, I'm going to transition into Josette.
So, hi everybody. I see names that I recognize, so I know some of you. I'm Josette Fitzgibbons. I am the business program officer at the URA. We're all on this, Pierce and Kryn and I from the URA on this call are all part of the business solutions unit. So I'm just going to go quickly through some of the additional resources we have here at the URA and different ways that we're trying to help businesses. And then we're also going to talk about a program called the State Hazard Pay Program, which just came out. And then later, Mark Masterson from Northside Community Development Fund is going to talk about their programs as well as the state's small business grant program. So I'm just going to run through these things pretty quickly. As we go through, if you have questions, we're not a huge crowd. So if you have questions, you can unmute and ask them, or put in the chat that you have a question. Kryn is monitoring that, so we can kind of stop and answer questions as we go. Probably the best way to get our attention really is to go into the chat function and put your question in, and then we'll stop at certain points and ask them. And then at the end tonight, we will have time for just kind of networking back and forth, where you all can talk about where your business is, how you've been affected or not affected. Maybe some businesses have not been affected by the COVID, but just kind of where we are and where we can help. So the website I'm looking at is the URA website. It's ura.org. And we have tried to pull as much information onto it as we can. So if in doubt, when you're looking for information, click onto our website, and we may have the information, or you can get in touch with one of us and ask. And even if it's not our program, we can usually direct you in the right way. So we have a page on this website called Tools for the Transition. And this is the home page. So this is the first page that you'll see when you go onto our website. So you can scroll down, Tools for the Transition. As Pierce said, the very first thing we did, the governor ordered the shutdown of, the full shutdown of the state, I think around March 17th. On March 19th, we started our emergency loan program, and we've done about 200 of them, helping businesses, and that's the $15,000 loan. As we said, that is closing at the end of this month. The demand has gone down for it. So that's closing at the end of this month. But our recovery loan is still open. That's the larger $75,000, up to $75,000 loan. And that is 0% interest for the first year and 2% for following years. And you have a 1-year grace period for payments. So you can do no payments for the first year. And that program is for kind of all of the things that you need as you're gearing your business back up. And it can be for equipment, it can be for merchandise, inventory. It can also cover payroll, especially if you're bringing on another employee or something. One note on that is that it cannot be, if you got any of the federal funding, the PPP or the EIDL loans from the Small Business Administration, it cannot be used for the exact same thing. So if you used PPP funds to cover payroll and rent, then your URA money, because it is federal money, it is from our federal money, it has to be used for some other piece of your business. And the best thing is going online, filling out the application, the initial application, and then talking your budget through with one of our loan officers. Also on these loans, as with all of the other URA loan products, we do offer technical assistance. So if you get on and you say, I'm not sure what you mean by financials, or what do I need for this or that, we have a core of folks that can help you through the process, and it's free. It's part of your application process. So just know that. Some of the other options, we also at the URA, we do have our microloan program that's still available, and that's one that we've had for several years. That is up to $30,000 at 2% interest, and it's a 7-year loan. We've done a lot of those loans. Some of you on the call may have already gotten our microloan at some point. And the key with that program is our underwriting. Our requirements are really, really flexible. So, if you went to a bank and tried to get a loan and couldn't get it because your credit score wasn't perfect or something like that, we can work around those things and actually offer you technical assistance with your business. This page also shows you some of the other things that are available in Pittsburgh. We're fortunate to have other options like Bridgeway Capital and Kiva, also Hebrew Free Loan, some other organizations like that can help you, that are alternatives to banks that can help you with some funding. We also have a couple of other programs that we're helping businesses with. One is our Pittsburgh Loyalty Bond program. And this is a way that folks can, if you have a business, a retail business or a food business, folks can go through this program and get gift cards. And we're partnering with Honeycomb Credit on this. And it's like a gift card membership program, which enables you to raise some funds right now. So to be part of the program, you have to promise to raise over the course of 30 days in your what they call a campaign on Honeycomb. You have to raise $1,000 in gift cards. So you have to get folks to to buy $1,000 worth of gift cards. What happens then is two things. Number one, your folks that buy the gift cards, let's say I went on to Kin of Duncan, since you guys are on the call, and bought a $100 gift card through this, I would get a credit that's for $130. But the cool thing about this program is that the URA is covering your registration fees for this. So your fees that would normally go with Honeycomb to sign up for it, we're covering it. And also, once you raise that $1,000 in gift cards, you get a $300 rebate. We're basically covering that extra 30%. The other thing is that folks, that the gift cards are not distributed right away. So the day after someone gets them, they're not running into your store. They're actually distributed over time. So over 2 years, participant or customers will get your gift card, will get 4 gift cards of equal amount. So if I bought that $100 gift card, I get $130 of credit on it, and I get, over a couple of years, 4 gift cards over time worth, I don't know, $32.50 or something like that over the course of time. So I have to come into your store 4 times. And you know, I don't know about anyone else, I'm going to spend more than my gift card's worth because I have a gift card covering part of it. So that's kind of a way to get folks coming back into your store. The other program I want to touch on quickly, because I do see we also have some questions in chat, which we'll take in a minute, is our Get Online, Grow Online program. We actually have had one cohort of this that we took applications for in June, and they're just finishing up. And we're going to be opening this program again in mid-August. And this is an opportunity to get some free technical assistance around building your e-commerce site and getting your business online, or growing your business online. Even if you already have a functioning website and can do some sales online, maybe you want to do more branding or figure out how to use social media or something like that. So keep your eyes open for that. That'll probably be being released in mid-August. We'll probably be opening it in mid-August, and the applications will be due toward the end of the month. So just keep your eye out for that. And that's a partnership we're doing with Neighborhood Allies. Some of the other things we have on the website are just some other resources of information about reopening safely, what some other businesses are doing, learning about getting your business outside, you know, what are some best practices around that. So I'm going to stop this minute and see what questions we have, and then I'm going to let Corinne talk about the hazard pay program.
Okay. So Phyllis had a question about what resources are available for mixed use or home-based businesses.
So really, any of our programs are available for home-based businesses. My only caution would be if you're doing like catering or something, that you have to be cooking out of a commercial kitchen. But other than that, you know, if you're doing online sales of some kind, or have you know, a commercial cleaning business that your office is in your home or anything like that, as long as your address for the URA programs, as long as your address is within the city of Pittsburgh, you can apply for them. Now, the state programs that we'll be talking about, or any of the other ones that I showed, like Kiva or Bridgeway, those are available outside of the city as well. But for our microloan, things like that, it can be for home-based businesses. The emergency loan.
I was going to say, Phyllis, yeah, that's what she asked. That's what I put in the chat, like our conventional
Just
products.
saw that, Corinne.
Yeah. Our conventional products lend to, home-based business, but our emergency products, Jennifer said,
Do not.
right.
And I think we're still trying to work out if in the second round of that Get Online e-commerce assistance, if we'd open the door to folks who aren't, that don't have a brick and mortar location.
I see, Jasmine, you had a question about the next round for the small business grants. So Mark's gonna address that in full. So we're gonna we'll answer that in a few minutes. And Esther is giving a recommendation to the Get Online, Grow Online program. Esther, what is your business?
Hello, I own Jules Home Staging and Furniture Design, so I'm a home stager and decorator. And I was having a really hard time with my online presence, so a couple of the volunteers have been helping me out the last few weeks.
Great.
That's wonderful.
I always like to hear good stories about our products that we're doing. Okay, if there are no more questions so far, and you guys can ask at any point, but I'm gonna kind of turn over to Corinne to talk about the PA Hazard Pay program. This is different than the Small Business Grant Program. This is something that was just opened and is closing at the end of this week. But so we want to let you guys know about it. Now, Corinne, I'm gonna go to the information page, and you can start talking.
Thanks. Yeah, this one, I'll be honest, is a fairly niche program. Essentially, if you're a certain type of business that stayed open throughout the pandemic, so you were open in March and April and June, you may be eligible for paying your employees more in between August and October. So if you scroll down a little bit there, Josette, this, I'm not sure what everyone's business is, is on this call right now, but the target of this is sort of a hospitals and healthcare, but also includes some food-based products. So supermarkets, corner stores, some daycares if you stayed open, some janitorial if you were working throughout, again, kind of March and April. I think bakeries are technically eligible if you stayed open. So those, as you can see on the screen, there's eligible applicants that include, if you go to the state guidelines, some of that's broken out in a little more detail. Again, the deadline is Friday. A fairly small subset in terms of who's eligible for that, but decent money there to pay your employees more. And then the only other resource, Josette, I don't know if you want to show, is that one-pager resource sheet in our front page. I think that one is still fairly helpful. If you go back to the URA's first, sorry, I meant the general one, not the hazard pay fact sheet.
With the hazard pay, there is on our page, if you have questions, we do have some staff that can help you through the hazard pay process. And the email is here on the page, hazardpaypittsburgh@ura.org. And we have some information and fact sheet there. All right, Corinne, I'm going to Is it on the COVID-19 page,
Yeah, I think
Quinn?
it's on the COVID-19 page. Sorry, we'll
Okay.
show you just one more last thing, then we'll change it over to Mark to go over the state grants. You scroll down, I guess, a little bit. Maybe we've buried in all the new resources. We do have this, if you click on that small business sheet there, again, that's our homepage. This kind of puts everything in one place. You know, you can kind of use it for if I need funding, if I need help getting my business online, helping my business function within the current restrictions. All these items are hyperlinked, so you can click on them and it'll open up the relevant page. So just another resource we have. I think with that, we're gonna shift over to Mark to talk a little more about the state
So
grant.
before Mark, I'm going to give opportunity for, I'm going to stop sharing. We have Jesse from the Northside Leadership Conference and Gina from the Northside Chamber. Jesse, do you want to talk a minute, just sort of what your organization does and how you're working with businesses right now? And then we'll do Gina and then Mark.
Sure, yeah, I'll keep this really brief. My name is Jesse Deskiner. I'm the Main Street Assistant with the Northside Leadership Conference. We're the community development corporation that serves the Northside. So basically my main role, especially for the last 4 months, is just to be a resource to businesses in the Northside. There are 18 neighborhoods in the Northside and there's a lot of businesses that need to be served. So basically I'm just a direct link between a lot of these programs and the businesses. So right now I have a very large email list of Northside businesses that I spam everyone almost several times a day, but definitely multiple times a week with potential useful tools or information such as all these URA programs or the PA small business grant, or information that the state puts out or the county puts out. I'm trying to keep our businesses as up to date and well informed as possible. So if any of you are business owners on the Northside and you're not on my email list, send me a message and I'll add you on that email list, so that way I can keep you all updated with everything that's going on. Or if you know anybody that owns a small business on the Northside, send them my way. I would, the more the merrier. We want to help out every small business that we can on the Northside.
Jesse, can you drop your contact information?
Yeah. I'll put my email and phone number in the chat. So like I said, if you own a business or you know someone that owns a business in the Northside, feel free to reach out to me. Also, I'm always available for phone calls or anything. If anyone ever has any questions about any of the programs, I'll try to be the best resource that I possibly can. I believe that's it. Last thing. So I also run a majority of our social media pages, and we have several different accounts on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and everything, and we have several thousand followers on most of those accounts. That are pretty much a majority of those followers are Northside residents, but then there's also Pittsburgh and surrounding region residents that follow these accounts. So I also post a lot of information about what our small businesses have going on there. So if you own a restaurant per se and you're doing a special takeout deal, we can share that on social media. Or if you own a fitness studio and you're doing some kind of membership discount or something like that, we can share that as well. So it's a very direct way to get our businesses engaged with consumers. So with that said, I guess I'm done. I'll drop my contact info into the chat.
Okay. Gina.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gina Groen. I'm the Executive Director of the Northside Chamber of Commerce. And we've been around. I have not been around since 1897, but the chamber has been around since 1897. So we as a chamber are 123 years old. And for all of those 123 years, we've kind of been doing the same mission. We represent and support the business community on the North Side. So we work on two levels. One is to support dues paying member businesses. So we have almost 200 member companies, some of who are here tonight. And the members are located in or have an interest in the North Side. And then the second level is to support and represent the interests of the business community as a whole. So we have some initiatives that support the whole area, like workforce development, permitting and zoning, transportation, economic development. And then I participate in conversations across the city and the region about various issues and ensure that the North Side business perspective is not overlooked. So our framework of activity at the member business level and at the whole community level is promote, connect, and support. So we have opportunities for members to get information in front of the right people, connect to each other through networking events and some other ways, finding resources to meet business goals, and then, through partnerships and some targeted initiatives, we promote the whole North Side to Pittsburghers and visitors. We look at employment initiatives for the area, and we advocate for business-friendly legislation. So when the pandemic hit, our activities shifted focus and format a little bit, but didn't really change too much. Jesse and the Northside Leadership Conference definitely stepped in to help sort of respond to individual needs and do a lot of promotion of the hospitality industry that was probably suffering the most right at the beginning of the pandemic. The chamber did a survey, a consumer survey on what people were looking for with safety precautions and what factors were important to them as they chose, which businesses to patronize moving forward. We've done some informational events about funding and communication, reopening recovery strategy, and we have we run the Northside Stronger Than Coronavirus Facebook group with the Northside Leadership Conference, and that's where Jesse was talking about a lot of the social media promotion is happening of resources and just letting people know which businesses are open, which businesses have special things going on. So we've been busy, and I'm available to to talk about membership or resources or anything. So I'll just I'll drop my contact information in the chat.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Gina. I heard I was having some weird feedback. Is this better?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
good. It was crazy when we transitioned the last time.
Yeah, my the headphones seem to work better, and it doesn't help that I have my pets seem to just parade across my lap while I'm trying to talk. But I'm going to turn this over to Mark and Rich. Mark is the executive director of the Northside Community Development Fund, and Rich is a loan officer. You guys are going to talk about the PA small business grant, as well as what you do for businesses in the North Side. So all yours, Mark.
Thank you. Also, Miana Connor, who's also on the call, is another loan officer from the fund. Recently minted. She was an assistant loan officer and has stepped up. So we have two loan officers at the moment with Rich Newell. I think some folks were chatting with him earlier. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and do a little presentation on the PA Small Business Grant Program. So let me know if folks can see this. Whoop. Can you see the, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, great. This is the, of course, talking about the Pennsylvania Small Business Grant Program for COVID relief that's being run through CDFIs in Pennsylvania. We are, oh, excuse me, we are one of 3 CDFIs headquartered in Western PA that are working with this program. It's us, it's Bridgeway Capital, and it's the Progress Fund. Bridgeway is headquartered here in Pittsburgh. Progress Fund is out in Greensburg. It's the Small Business Assistance Program provides grants to small businesses that have been economically impacted by COVID-19. There's a total of $225 million. $100 million of that is for historically disadvantaged business owners, and that's a fancy way of saying for minority-owned businesses. And that is, half of the money that's available for grants. There's $25 million for forbearance to existing portfolio customers that the CDFIs have, and to also help us with loan loss reserves because we do risky loans, and we've got a lot of businesses that are struggling in our portfolio. And then there's $100 million for what the governor referred to as Main Street businesses. Again, Bridgeway, Progress Fund, and the Northside Community Development Fund are the three CDFIs in Western PA participating. It's not a first come, first served program. There's been a lot of other programs that have come and gone that were sort of, you had to know it was there, and if you didn't act really quickly, you really didn't, you were left out. And that leaves a lot of small businesses that we work with out because folks are busy, trying to run their business or trying to reopen, and they're not paying attention to press releases and pronouncements from the governor's office. So we really wanted to be deliberate about this, to have multiple rounds of funding that people could participate in. The first application window opened on June 30th and closed on July 14th. And the first window was for $50 million, at $25 million for minority-owned businesses and $25 for Main Street businesses. Applicants will be notified, and everybody will know their status by August 10th, that whether you got a grant, or if you didn't get a grant, you're automatically rolled into the next round of funding. And again, if you didn't receive the funding, we're hoping will be dispersed within 30 days of people being notified of the award. A lot of that depends on, did we really get accurate banking information from folks, and sort of the quality information we got in the applications. The demand for the first round was strong. So we know that there's other businesses that haven't applied that we want to reach and get them to apply. To be eligible to apply, your business has to be located and certified to do business, and that can mean a number of things, but basically legally operating in Pennsylvania, physically located here, and getting at least 51% of your revenue from activities within the state of Pennsylvania. Business had to be in operation by February 15th of 2020. You have to have annual gross revenue of $1 million or less prior to the impact of COVID-19. And that's gross, top line, not net, not after cost of goods sold. That's the total amount of sales that you had. And that you also have to be 25 or fewer full-time equivalent employees prior to February 1st. You aren't able to apply, or you're ineligible if you're in active default with taxes owed to either the IRS or the Commonwealth. Now, you can be on a tax payment plan. That's okay. But if you've defaulted and you're not on a payment plan, you're going to not make it through. If you didn't experience any revenue loss, this is for folks that have had suffered a loss from COVID-19. We have several businesses in our portfolio that actually have made money and continue to operate kind of normally from a revenue standpoint, but they're in businesses that were deemed essential and they were able to stay open. This is for for-profit businesses, so nonprofits, religious organizations, government-owned entities cannot apply. Well, you can, you just won't get very far in the application round. And then it's also for, it's not for passive real estate. It's not really for real estate businesses at all. If you get more than 51% of your income from rental income, you're not eligible to apply. There's some other programs that PHFA is operating, and that's the Allegheny County have some resources up for that for residential real estate, but we really weren't trying to subsidize real estate developers. We were really trying to get to small business owners that were taking it on the chin, the barbershops, the hair salons, the nail places, the restaurants, and businesses like that. And again, that goes to the businesses that we thought were most impacted by COVID-19. And again, it's those personal care and hospitality businesses that make up the bulk of that. Also, daycare, it was also a targeted because most daycares had to shut down. We're also putting priority on businesses that are owned and operated by low and moderate income individuals. We've got a ton of small businesses that there's more than 1 million businesses in Pennsylvania that gross less than $1 million a year. There's probably, I would say 50% of those businesses are actually grossing less than $250,000 a year. And a significant percentage of those businesses are grossing less than $50,000 a year. So there's a lot of folks that aren't super wealthy that are operating their businesses, and we wanted to make sure that they were targeted for special consideration. Also for businesses, if it wasn't low and moderate ownership, if you were operating in an area that had a population with income significantly below median income level, basically low mod income census tracts. It's a fancy way of, that's the way it was worded on the state website. It's a fancy way of saying if you're a low mod income owner, or you had a business located in a low mod census tract or community, you were going to get added consideration with your application. And then additional consideration be given to women-owned businesses, communities targeted for business investment by state government. And Corinne knows this well, and I see Henry also does. What that means in the city of Pittsburgh is that if you're in a local neighborhood business district, you're going to get a little bit added weight to your application. And then if you were out, we wanted to make sure that this also got out to rural areas and those small population counties. So there's some additional consideration for those areas that typically census tracts are like the size of half of the county, and it's kind of difficult to target them geographically. And then the amount of funding is based on the size of your business. I'm not going to read these numbers off. Everybody can, well, maybe there's some folks that are probably on the phone. But, you know, if you're at $50,000, you would get a $5,000 grant. If you're between $850,000 and $1 million in gross revenue, you'd get the maximum grant of $50,000. And for those that aren't able to see, there's a range in between those two numbers. And that's something that you'll document with, you'll be submitting your federal tax return, and that's how we document what the gross income is. This has changed slightly from the first round of applications. We, Rich and Miana can attest, we got a ton of calls from folks because we were helping them through the application process about uploading documents. So in the second round, we're going to be simplifying this. You'll have to have a government issue, at least in the initial stage, you have to have a government issued photo ID like a driver's license or a passport. You'll have to have your tax return for 2018 or 2019. If you're sole proprietor, you would submit your Schedule C from your personal tax return. If you're a startup that started and you don't have those tax returns, you can submit interim financial, like internal profit and loss statement or something like that, that document what your revenue had been. And then you also will have to upload a certification that you will sign that basically says it's a legally operating business, that your taxes are current. You'll indicate the percentage loss of revenue from 2019 to 2020 for that for the March 1st through May 31st 3-month period, and that all the statements that you've made in the application are true. And then at the tail end of this, there'll be some additional information that's collected, including bank account information, and that's if you're awarded the grant. So we're trying to do a lot of the uploading and linking and bank account verification on the back end if you're awarded, instead of trying to do it for everybody on the front end. We think that that'll make for more people being able to apply and complete the application, and it'll be easier. And that's what we like. Is, you know, as a CDFI fund, we try to make it we're not a bank. You know, we try to make it easier for people to access us, and so we want to on the front end, and you know, try to work with them to get to more information as we go down the path. So that's kind of this is maybe more reflective of how we want to see this run as CDFIs. What you can use the funds for, the eligible use, you can use it for payroll costs and costs related to healthcare and other family leave insurance premiums related to your payroll. You can use it for working capital, for paying mortgage principal and interest. Can't pay off your mortgage, can't pay off the debt, but you can use it to make the payments. I don't know if that's clear, but you can't use it to get rid of your debt. You can use it to make the debt payments, but you can't pay off the entire mortgage or loan. You can pay rent, you can do utility payments. You know, that working capital covers a lot of stuff, but it's got to be related to the COVID-19 pandemic. You can also have working capital to cover cost of reopening if you had to close or partially close. So, you know, if you were in a barbershop, you needed to get personal protective equipment, and you had to maybe, you know, space the chairs further apart, or if you're a restaurant and you're going to renovate the back room to get social distancing and maybe increase the number of tables that you could serve, you can use it for things like that. But you can't say, hey, I want to renovate my place. It's not for that. It's got to be related to COVID-19 pandemic. If again, the health and safety precautions, equipment barriers, equipment, we've had folks that were redoing their HVAC, their ventilation system, and they were wondering if that could be something that was eligible. And they were doing it specifically because they wanted to add more filters. And like, yeah, that is an eligible expense. And the other thing is that if you got paycheck protection or program, or an emergency injury or an economic injury disaster loan, EIDL from the SBA, or you got some other local funds. We've done local at the CDFI, as a CDFI fund, we've been doing bridge loans to Northside businesses. URA's been doing those things as well. We just you can't double dip. You can apply, you know, get penalized, but if you can't use it for the same expense. So if you got payroll covered by PPP, you know, from April through May, you can't use these funds to cover that same period, but you could use it for July or August. The application process is entirely online. We had a lot of folks that wanted to bring me their application in person, and there's nothing I can do with that. So it's something that we work with folks on the phone. We also had a great partner with Juan Garrett over at Riverside Commons Initiative, that they were doing on-site for people that were having difficulty scanning documents. We think that will get alleviated quite a bit with the less of a need to upload a bunch of documents. But again, you can apply through any of the three funds. You know, we've got our website here, and I'm going to ask Rich to post our contact and information stuff. Bridgeway Capital and Progress Fund. It doesn't make any difference for how your application is scored. You know, we're all in this together. It all goes into a pool statewide. The second round of applications will open probably towards the end of the second week in August, but not totally positive yet. And the reason that I can't be specific about it is that with the changes in the uploads and things, we're asking our vendor, Lendistry, to make those changes. We just haven't gotten a date specific as to when all that stuff's going to be done. But we wanted to delay. If we were originally shooting, I think, for August 4th, but that might be, maybe August 10th would be my guesstimate right now. We're just waiting for them to tell us how long those improvements will take for them to make the changes to the application websites. If you've already applied, please do not apply again. You might need to complete your application or uploads. Maybe you won't have to upload anything with these changes. Maybe you get lucky there. But don't start a new one because that is just going to slow it down. It might jeopardize you getting funded in the second round, because what the vendor is looking for is fraud. As these programs are prevalent around the country, we're seeing a lot more incidents of fraud. And when you start to see multiple applications from the same email address or slightly different email addresses or same social security numbers, it just raises the barrier that you're going to have to get over to get funded. So if you've already started a second application in the first round, if you did it with us, give me a call. We'll help get that cleaned up. If you have started an application and you're not selected in the first round, your application will get rolled into the second round. If you know that you need to complete some things, we can help you with that. You can log back in and complete that information, but it's important not to start a second one. And then you can stay up to date. You can go to our website. We're posting stuff as we learn. We haven't changed a whole lot since the application round closed, but probably Thursday or Friday of this week, we'll start updating that again. We're also going to get our email list so people can continue to sign up for that so that we can email you directly about when the second round starts. And then the other thing, we've been so focused on this grant program, but we also do a lot of loan programs. Somebody had asked earlier about home-based businesses. If it's on the north side, before I go, for this grant program, we're also operating Allegheny County wide. We had to step up because there's only 3 CDFIs out here in Western PA. So we're in Allegheny County, Beaver County, Greene County, Lawrence County, and Washington County, sort of the far southwest counties of Pennsylvania. And so we're working, we got to know some folks down in Greene County. Not a whole lot of people down there, but we're reaching out to them to make sure all of these businesses know what's going on and know that they can apply. We've been targeting our efforts in low to mod income census tracts and in communities and places where we're likely to find a high density of minority-owned businesses. And that's sort of borne out in our stats. The first round, I think 43% of our applications, and that might fluctuate higher, but we're from minority-owned businesses. So we're not a big CDFI, and we're putting our limited resources into those efforts to make sure that we're serving communities like the North Side all over that 5-county area. So I've been talking to folks in Aliquippa, down in the Mon Valley, just trying to reach out wherever we can and using whatever opportunity. So folks on this call have connections in communities that you think that we'd be helpful for this program. We're all ears. We want to continue that outreach effort. Jumping back to what the fund did before grants and what we're going to continue to do after the grant programs, we offer a variety of loan programs. I mean, that's our bread and butter. We're an SBA micro lender. We do a ton of startups. We've been doing, we do business expansion loans. We do equipment loans. We fill gaps. So if a bank maybe the bank can't do any of your deal, then, we can look at that. But maybe the bank can do part of a loan on a piece of equipment and they can't do it all. And you might not have all the equity to buy that. We can help fill the gap on that. And then we've also, since the outbreak of COVID-19, we've deferred everybody's loans. We did that the day that they announced the shutdown. I think we got emails to everybody. We deferred starting that day. I'm not quite sure how swift we were on communicating everything to our borrowers, but everybody's been deferred since then. They continue to be deferred now. We also have been doing emergency bridge loans up to $25,000. And if we're open to that and we can do that right now. We had been focusing on existing customers because we could close those quickly because we already had all of their information. You know, it was a lot easier lift on the underwriting. And if you close on one of these loans, we also won't make payments on it. If we can close it before September 20th, you won't make any payments on it because the SBA will pay for the first 6 months. The SBA will cover principal and interest payments. So that's a good deal, but it's also it's a 6-year straight term loan. So we'd have to, you know, that's where you'd have to work with Rich and Miana on a more diligent underwriting. With the grant program, there's no underwriting. It's a grant. It doesn't get repaid. So we could do other things as well besides the grants, but I know everybody's here to talk about the grants. So I don't know if there's questions that have come up or.
Yeah, Mark, I think you answered some of the questions that were posted related to participation rates, you know, when's the next round opening up. But Renee had a question about, other than tax-related reasons, what else would cause a business to be denied the grant?
Well, it's a scarce resource. So, you know, have I stopped sharing? I hope so, because otherwise you're looking at an even bigger picture of me on my other screen. It's a scarce resource, so not everybody that applies is going to get funded. But there's, you know, if you're a for-profit, small and under $1 million and less than 25 full-time equivalent employees and operating legally, you know, and by that, it's basically, are you paying your taxes or are you on a payment plan? You can apply. And of course, there's some other, I went over the real estate. It can't really be a real estate getting your rent, getting more than 51% of your income from rental income. But you know, there's not a whole lot that you can't do. Cannabis businesses we can't do, and that's related to the underpinning of the federal. These monies ultimately started at the federal government and the CARES Act, and sort of run down through the state and came to the CDFIs. So that underlying federal prohibition about cannabis-related businesses applies here as well. Here we got some chat.
Sorry, yeah. Not sure if, I guess we could open it up if folks have other questions.
There was a question from Will Parker. We've waived our application fee for everybody on our COVID emergency loans. But we don't waive it for, you know, with our regular loans, no, we don't waive the fees for anybody.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark, for all that powerful information. I do want to add that with my work with Forward Cities and the E3 Network, which is a bunch of local entrepreneurs, support organizations, and you mentioned Juan Garrett with Riverside Center for Innovation. There are, and this is for everyone, there are some local organizations that can help you out with the paperwork. So my suggestion would be is to get assistance with all your paperwork before you go to Northside Community Development Fund or Bridgeway Capital. Make it easier on the CDFIs to assist you. So some of the local organizations that are helping folks get their information together. On the north side, you have Riverside Center for Innovation. In Wilkinsburg, you have Community Forge. In East Liberty, you have Circle Pittsburgh, who are helping out with information. And I believe there's another one, it's called Axiom Development Corporation. I think they're based on the Hill District, and they are working on becoming Western PAs for CDFI, and they're also minority owned. So use some of the resources that you have or partnerships or relationships with local entrepreneur support organizations in the community, Northside or wherever, to help you get everything in order before you reach out to the CDFIs if you didn't apply for the first round and you're considering applying for the second round.
Yeah, I wanted to, just to sort of jump in on that. And we also, being, like I said, at the beginning of our meeting, our funds are winding down. So we have sort of transitioned over to helping clients prepare themselves to be able to apply successfully for the grant. So, we offer assistance at the URA as well.
Wonderful. So I think at this point, we're going to kind of check in with some of the entrepreneurs on the call and to see how you're doing, to see how your business have done during COVID, how your business have been doing since the initial shutdown in mid-March. So if you're willing to speak for a couple seconds, put your hand up. If not, I'm going to pick on you. So I'm going to start with Northside owned business up in Brighton Heights. So Tiffany Best, how is the daycare doing? Karen, can you unmute Tiffany Best?
Yeah, sorry. You should be able to unmute yourself, but
no.
Yeah, I think you have to unmute yourself, but you should be able to.
Tiffany, can you hear us? Or are you multitasking? All right, who else we're gonna pick on? What about Miss Blackwell? Hello.
Hi, Bernard.
How you doing? You have a Northside-based business, right?
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell's not on the call, but you'll have to settle for Mrs. Blackwell.
That's great. So tell us about your business and what's been going on since the start of COVID-19.
For sure. Well, because we are a small business, not in a business district, but more so in a residential community, we felt the effects of the COVID-19 because about 60% of our annual revenue was affected because we had to close our dine-in. And so now what we have been doing is doing a lot of the takeouts. So we've been doing takeouts. And then we've also pivoted the business to become an outreach into the community. So we've been feeding the community over 200 meals per day with free meals. So we're taking what we have, with the input of the community. So we got a lot of community members that have come alongside this effort to feed the community during this time. So we're not where we want to be, but we haven't closed the doors. And we're grateful for that because there's a lot of organizations out there like Northside Community Development Funds that have enabled us to be able to stay afloat during this time.
I would suggest that you visit the Neighborhood Allies website. I think a couple of URA staff mentioned before that there's going to be a second round of the Get Online program. That's been really helpful. I believe in the first round, there was a lot of food-based businesses that participated. So you may want to jump on that as well.
Okay, you said that's with Neighborhood Allies?
Yes, it's a partnership between Neighborhood Allies and the URA.
Yeah, Henry's on the call. He actually could speak to it. Henry, can you speak to tell her about the Get Online, Grow Online briefly?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. We're going to be opening up applications probably, I'd say, mid to late August, and we're hoping to do it again in September. Basically, what happened in the first round was we paired businesses based on their needs with one of 6 different contractors who were pre-qualified, and then we matched them and paid those contractors $80 an hour to provide service to those entrepreneurs. In some cases, they built out e-commerce systems or like online inventory, like computer inventory. In other cases, like in one case, Vernard helped some folks with their social media presence and how to like garner more customers that way. It's really about how folks can either be more efficient in their business practices online or just get more business online. Now, the next round could look a little different. We're not completely sure, but that component of working one-on-one will absolutely be there again. And you know, I would encourage everyone to sign up for the URA newsletter because it's a real easy way to not miss opportunities like that.
Thank you very much, Henry. And this guy's dedicated. He's still working at 7 o'clock at night on his birthday. Happy birthday, Henry.
Oh, happy birthday.
That was yesterday. I totally did not work on my birthday.
Oh, okay. Yesterday, today, my bad. All right. I see Tiffany Best has unmuted herself. So she's the one of the owners of Angels Academy in Brighton Heights. How you doing, Tiffany?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. So tell us what's going on.
We just opened back up last week. And well, we've been actually open for like, I think 3 weeks. Everything's running together. It's kind of hard to tell. But it's been kind of interesting. The numbers rotate up and down, the amount of children that are there.
How many little babies did you service before the start of COVID-19? And how many do you average now?
We average 30. And right now the most we had so far was 9.
9. Wow.
Yes. But most of them are coming back. People are on vacation, and I'm still not, people going out of town, coming back and forth out of town, they can't come. So it's just kind of the restrictions on people coming from traveling and being around other people. And it's just, we had to just get a routine doing our testing. When kids come in, we ask the parents to call when they're outside. We take their temperatures when they come in the morning and several times throughout the day.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just interesting. A new normal.
Wow.
And we're waiting to see how it's going to go with the school age kids, because normally the kids go to school. So a lot of schools already confirmed they're going to be doing online for the first quarter at least. So we're going to see how that goes with childcare as well, because of the regulations, kids can't be, school age kids aren't supposed to be in childcare during the day. So the state has to change some things around as well.
Okay. Wow. Well, thanks for that update.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're trying.
Hang in there. You know where to find me.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. All right. What's going on, Renee? Coach Renee?
Hey, Bernard, everybody.
Who are you?
I'm Renee Robinson. I'm the founder of Reset Fitness. I'm a personal trainer. I specialize in corrective exercise and weight loss. So right before COVID happened, I got approved for a Kiva loan for $7,000. I got the money. Most of that was supposed to go to renting a space right here on the north side. And 3 days into quarantine, the owner of the building pulled out of the deal. He didn't want to rent to me because he was afraid I wasn't going to be able to open. That was a big blow to me. I now have acquired equipment and I don't have a space. I've actually, for the last 2 months or so, been training out of the trunk of my car. So I'm looking for space. It's hard. People have a lot of stipulations now that were not there before. I've been feverishly trying to clean up my credit because I'm like on the cusp of the 600 mark, and that is causing me to not be able to qualify for certain loans and to even rent space. So I've had to transition to online training, like a virtual training, but I've had to cut my prices. So I'm just like, I'm just making it. I'm just able to pay my bills. So I'm looking for space again now. I had to make sure that moving forward that I have enough equipment to where when I teach small group, everybody has their own set of equipment. Nobody's sharing equipment. I want to make sure that I can continue to follow the social distancing rules when I do open back up, and make sure it's hard to come across sanitizing stuff. Like I have Lysol and wipes and stuff like that, but they're hard to come by. It's a fight trying to get this stuff. And I have to literally disinfect everything after each use. I've been doing one-on-one trainings, and before I throw everything back in the trunk, I gotta, wipe everything down, Lysol everything down, make sure I'm not taking stuff home to my family. And it's rough. So, I mean, I've had to get creative, and I'm still here, but moving forward, I don't know what business is going to look like for me. So,
I want to let you know that there is a minority-owned cleaning supply company that most people don't know about, and it's about 2 blocks down from your old location on Hamilton Avenue.
Okay.
It's right across from the old Animal Rescue League, and they sell a lot of good stuff in there.
Okay.
Someone say something? I can't remember the name, but I'll get the name for you.
Okay.
So you mentioned credit restoration. I want to bring up, I'm not sure if she's a business owner. I think she is, but she works for the Pittsburgh Financial Empowerment Center, which is a partnership between a city and the URA. And that is, or is it the city and neighborhood allies? Akuma, are you still here? No, I think she may have just dropped out. Okay, so if Akuma jumps back in, we'll let her speak for a couple minutes because she's very good with credit restoration and helping people get a financial plan, and she does all that for free.
That's another one.
Do you want me to?
So
yeah, do you want me to talk about it? Yeah.
Absolutely. I was looking for you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so the Pittsburgh Financial Empowerment Center has been around for like a year now, and it consists of 4 highly trained professional financial counselors that are available to all Pittsburghers over 18 years of age for free. And it's not a class. It's not like go every Wednesday and complete a worksheet or whatever. It's like a person who knows all their stuff, and you just get to ask them questions, and they help you do what you're trying to do. Like, that's it, right? So it's like when rich people go to BNY Mellon and they have these people that like advise them on everything, every little move, because it's worth it to BNY Mellon because they're making all that interest. It's like that, but everybody can have it now. And it literally is free. It's a city service. We do it in cooperation with neighborhood allies. All you got to do is go online or call the 800 number and make an appointment. That's it. But we also have partnerships where we're integrated into, like, for example, the URA microloan program. Like, if you wanted to use the microloan program and maybe you like needed to work on your credit a little bit, we would work with you with an FEC counselor simultaneously to you taking advantage of the microloan, for example. But you could just do one or the other on their own too. And Ikuma, of course, is a counselor at the FEC, and she's been working there since the very, very beginning. And she's actually one of the best performing, possibly the best performing counselor we have, helping all kinds of people with all kinds of issues, whether it's student loan debt, whether it's getting some old crap knocked off your credit report that shouldn't be there, or just strategizing to realize if it's been too long that you don't actually have to pay something anymore. She knows all the tricks. So call her up.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Henry. Next up, we're going to call on, sorry, I had to pull up another screen. Okay, so next up, we're going to bring up Brandon Brooks, who is the owner of Adventurify, which is a Black-owned crowdfunding company. And he recently partnered with Cocopreneur, which is building Western PA's only Black-owned business directory. And about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, they've created a campaign called the Pittsburgh Black Business Relief Fund, where they've raised $60,000 already for minority-owned businesses. So Brandon does a lot with promoting businesses, and he's done a lot with being an advocate that makes sure that a lot of small businesses receive the grants that's coming down from the state and the ones that previously from the SBA. So Brandon, are you there, Brandon?
I'm here. Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How are you?
Good. I'm good. How's everybody doing tonight? Thanks for the shout out. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, just like he pointed out, we're advocating big time for some more funding to come in. You know, this 250 million is fantastic, but I think with everything going on, we're going to need a lot more. You know, realistically, the work the CDFIs you all have been doing is fantastic. I can't say I appreciate you all enough. And you know, it's amazing seeing so many resources out here and so many people coming together. You know, we got to provide relief and we got to work together to make that happen. So, you know, I appreciate every single one of you. I think Mr. Masterson and Pierce in the chat said that there's going to be a lot of transparency around this. And I think that that's going to be really needed. Just, you know, after the way we saw PPP go, the Main Street Lending Program and some of these other programs on the federal level, we didn't get a great opportunity to see a lot of transparency, and the transparency we did get to see wasn't fantastic. So really glad that there's going to be transparency surrounding this. You guys keep up the great work. The Pittsburgh Black Business Owners Relief Fund is still going on. Please, if anybody wants to contribute to that. We've raised over 60,000 already, and we're trying to hit the 100,000 mark soon. That's all going on. And just, you know, full transparency, I always make sure I say it. This is a fund that we believe in, so our company is foregoing all profits for this. All the money is going straight to the entrepreneurs that are in need. It's something we're behind 100%, and you know, I'm doing everything on my end and my team to make it happen. So thanks again, everybody. Hopefully everybody has a fantastic evening. And Vernard, thanks again for the shout out. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Hey, Quinn, can you unmute yourself? Quinn, all right, so we have a lawyer. We have Quintara Morant. She is a self-employed lawyer. She helps with business formation. She does a lot of estate planning and related things. So how's everything been going with you, Quinn? How's business been since mid-March?
So originally, when COVID started, business really slowed down. So for probably about a month, there wasn't any real business. And then there were a lot of articles that came out really stressing the importance of planning in terms of estate planning. So having your wills, having your medical directives, having things of that nature in place. And then business picked up. The issue became, it picked up to the point where I didn't have the infrastructure to service everybody that was coming through. And so that's kind of where I'm at now, where I'm just trying to take it to the next level and being able to just service a lot more clients. So of course that means updating my systems, updating computer systems, phone systems, all of that. And that's just kind of where I'm at now, so.
Right. Well, thank you very much for sharing.
No problem.
Yolanda? Hey, Yolanda.
I'm not putting my video on because I'm driving.
Speak up, we can't hear you.
I said I'm not putting my video on because I'm driving.
Oh, that's okay. We don't want you to do that.
Okay. But anyways, my name is Yolanda Andrews. I'm the owner and operator of Notary Now LLC, which is a mobile notary company. With that being said, anybody who knows what notaries do know that they require face-to-face interactions, and COVID completely shut me down. Early May, the Department of State in regards to notary gave us permission to open back up and move forward, and they came back 2 weeks later and said no, shut down. So I really started back. In the midst of all that, sorry, my commission expired in May as well, and I had sent my paperwork in March, but because everything was closed, I had to wait. So I was closed. I was literally closed. My account was empty, and there was no no end in sight. And then once I got back started, I'll say like the end of June, the month of July has been really great. Everybody's taking advantage of the refinances and the low percentages going on. And as of right this moment, I do see a future for Notary Now to be able to continue, continue working and continue keeping my business open. But I still required assistance from the months that I was down, because that was March until pretty much June, and that's just a long time. And I don't know. I did apply for the first round, and I'm hoping that I get accepted for something to be able to thoroughly move forward.
All right, keep your fingers crossed. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Is there anyone else who wants to share before we turn this back over to Pierce and close it out?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to touch on this topic because I haven't heard anyone say anything. But first, my name is William Parker, and I run a company that's called VendSpin. That's VENDSPIN. Haven't heard anyone say anything about the systemic racism that we face here in Pittsburgh. And I just wanted to read this out, this brief comment that I wrote down. Systemic racism is a disease, and it's in our organizations, government, businesses, schools, universities, and those who have contracted it need treatment. What's the cure? I'm not sure if we've even developed one yet, but I know it's going to take more than a few conversations. It's going to take therapy. It's going to take actions and inclusion. We don't want just crumbs. We want our own loaf. How are we going to increase our value if we keep getting shortchanged? I want everyone to leave from this meeting and share with your colleagues that African Americans, Black people are good enough, okay? They won our numbers, but they had theirs. How many financial companies post on their websites openly and provide data on who they help and what were the results? I think it's a fair question to ask these CDFIs. How many Black people, how many women, how many disabled, et cetera, have they personally helped? Like Mark said before, there's only 3 CDFIs in the Pittsburgh region, and we need to change that. So I hope someone's willing to have that conversation about possibly putting that together, because we need a CDFI that is ran by people of color. I hear a lot of talk around microloans. And I think we need more than just microloans. We need mega loans. Okay, it's a mindset. If we're already thinking small, we're going to continue to stay small. I just think that we need to collectively get together and work on dismantling the systemic racism that we face in this city. And that's it.
I think you, good points. One thing that we have to remember, and I'm not sure when the stats will come out about who will receive the grants or not, and like Brandon said, I believe, hopefully there will be some transparency on who will receive those grants. There was a lot of us who really pushed hard, especially for minority-owned businesses in Western PA, to be a part of this process, so that we don't get shut out like we did with the first round of PPE loans. But one thing that a lot of folks don't realize is the Philadelphia region has 11 CDFIs. We have 3.
Exactly.
And I mentioned earlier, there's a company that has been working with a lot of businesses locally, and over the last couple of years, it's a woman minority-owned company. It's called Axiom, AXIOM Development Company. You can find their website online. They have been working on becoming Western PA's 4th CDFI. So even 3, 4, you know, we're dealing with a Philadelphia that has 11. So we're trying to push as many people who qualify as possible within this region to be connected so that we could bring home as much money as possible to Western PA. And I'll let Pierce or anyone else who may want to add on to that.
Yeah, I really appreciate your comments, William. I would say that you're speaking on behalf of the URA, being that, you know, we are government, you know, economic development arm of the city of Pittsburgh's government. You know, in terms of the, you know, especially with our COVID, you know, I'm not sure if you were available during the entire call, but, you know, we definitely place, you know, significant emphasis on making sure that we connected with as many MWBEs as possible. And, you know, our numbers are reflective of that. In regards to your comments about the microloan, I definitely understand your point. You know, microloan for us is only up to $30,000, but the URA offers a wide range of products. And I mean, just speaking to my personal experience dealing with, you know, clients every single day, you know, I get a wide range, but I'm a Black man, and, you know, a lot of Black people know me. So I talk to a lot of the Black people who are looking for, you know, loans that are in, you know, the 50K range up to, you know, 200,000, you know, just, you know, sort of all across the spectrum. So, you know, we are, you know, definitely extending, you know, these programs to, you know, to reach as many people as possible. Of course, across the board, you know, I would say in our region, you know, we definitely can do better, but, you know, efforts are being made. So I just definitely wanted just to put that out there, like, you know, work is being done, but we still have, you know, far, you know, way to go.
Yeah, because
just to remind folks real quickly, 50% of the money in grants that's available is designated to go to minority-owned businesses. $100 million of the $200 million in direct grants. And that was something that we fought for as CDFIs at the state level to make sure that minority-owned businesses didn't get shortchanged on this like they had on some previous state programs and how it had worked at the PPP program early on. So, you know, we're pulling for those businesses. You know, we made sure that 50% of the money by the way that the legislation or the governor's order works, 50% of it has to go to minority-owned businesses.
And
so can I just okay, go ahead.
So I understand that, but there's like also a catch along with that, because out of that money, the 250 million, they said in order for a company to receive the 50K, they have to be making upwards of $1 million. Now, how many Black businesses in the Pittsburgh area are making $1 million in revenues? So therefore, how many will receive that $50,000? And if we don't receive that $50,000, then what are we looking at here? 5,000 here, 10,000 there? That's another form of short change right there. So as I left in the chat room, my question to Mark is, how many companies have you approved? I don't know if that approval process is over yet, but how many companies ran by African Americans have you approved for the $50,000?
I'd like to jump in. I'd like to jump in.
Can I just say something? Oh, okay. Go ahead, brother.
I'd like to jump in real quick. I'll say this first, in regards to Will's question, the grants are anyone that makes $1 million and more is not eligible for a grant. So even if you made 5,000, if your business started in February and was affected by the pandemic, then you are eligible for a grant. The grant is being distributed fairly across PA. Okay, so it's not based on your income. I want to say that. I'll say more importantly, I have a lot of colleagues on this call that I've worked closely with personally during my time at PNC and even now at the Northside Fund. I would say our mission has always been to lend to businesses in low to moderate income communities. If you go onto our website, you can look and see a lot of success stories that you know, or
I've
from
only
business.
seen like three.
Okay, well, there's a lot of them. Well, there's a lot of them. So, I mean, I'm not sure where you look, but I will say this. We've done a lot of loans to businesses, to business owners of color. So I want to make sure that, yes, systematic racism does exist, but I'm saying, me being a vehicle of the Northside Community Development Fund, I will say this. We provide loans to any and all businesses in low to moderate income areas. So much so that we're looking to try to maybe down the line do some additional expansion into other areas of this city. So I wanted to make sure I put that out for the good of the group.
Real quickly for Brandon, the CDFIs do not make the decision who gets the grants, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's another party.
It is a scoring system that we developed. So like, I'm not personally making the decisions on who gets the grant or who doesn't get the grant, but I went through that a little earlier with if it's a low mod income business owner, if it's hospitality, personal care, those businesses are going to rank higher than other types of businesses. You know, probably will rank higher than maybe an accounting firm or someone else that might have been able to stay open during the pandemic and wasn't quite as severely hit. So, but we've developed a scoring system that the CDFIs and the state agreed to. And then that stuff is going through a process right now with the applications, and they'll be notified. And actually, I think the way the notification will work is it'll come through us, but I'm not making decisions on folks that applied through us, or, you know, it's sort of all in a central pool. And there's 7 CDFIs that rotates for each of the rounds. So there's 7 CDFI representatives that'll sit and look and just be sure that here's how the scoring worked, and making sure that all that stuff was applied correctly. But all that stuff was, you know, sort of outlined at the beginning of the grant, and they're getting scored by the contractor that we've got, Lindustry.com, that runs the actual portals for us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Brandon, you've been chomping.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you kind of just addressed a lot of what I was going to say, but also just to address the quick point I think that Mr. Parker made, as far as size of the grants and loans, we need to be careful with language there, because a lot of small business owners don't want to take on loans right now. But if you are looking for loans, I mean, you know, PPP is still available. Main Street Lending Program is still a thing. I've been pushing to get some change in the Main Street Lending Program's language, only because the minimum was too low. It was low, or the minimum was too high. I apologize. It was lowered one time, but I think it's going to end up getting lowered a little bit for another round of it. But then as far as Mr. Masterson was talking about, and I think that this is something that's important and maybe needs to be done for the next round of funding, not the next round of applications, but the next round of funding that will be coming into PA, because I'm fairly confident that it will be. We need to break down minority businesses a little bit more. And this is kind of why I keep mentioning transparency on this. And it's something that I think needs broken down, almost how the small businesses need broken down from such a high number. Minority businesses can mean a lot. And unfortunately, what we've seen historically happen, and what I hope is not happening with this, is minority can also mean women-owned businesses, can also mean this. I think there needs to be a little bit more breakdown and designation. And my hope is the CDFIs push for that, for underestimated founders instead of just, you know, minority owned businesses. And underestimated founders, by that I mean Black founders, African-American founders, African-American women founders. There needs to be a little bit more designation, because, you know, unfortunately, with the best intentions and the best scoring systems, we still see a lot of the systemic issues of who that money is going to. So again, that's why I'm really excited a little bit, I guess I could say, to see the numbers on this. I would like to ask how the numbers are going to be released. Will it be released after the first round closes, or will we see kind of the numbers months later? And the reason I ask that is because if there is going to be another round of funding, we'd like to be able to address it beforehand. What we saw with PPP happen is the numbers were released several months after initial applications, and the first, it was actually after the second round is when we started to see the numbers released. And so it was unable to be addressed on a large scale. But because this is smaller and this is PA, I'm hoping that the transparency either happens after each round is approved. Even though I know some people will go on to the second and third rounds, I hope that we can get that data a little bit early, and that'll only give us power to get more money into PA and to be more strategic about it. So thank you.
Yeah, just to, if you don't mind, I'll just answer like one of the questions quickly about, this is the federal definition of disadvantaged business, which is African-American, Hispanic, American Indian, Native Alaskan, Asian, and Pacific Island. That's the definition. So it's not women-owned businesses. There is a little bit of preference, a smaller preference, but that half of those funds, that's who it's reserved for. And I know what we've seen, 50 or 43% of the applicants that applied through us are, and we think that actually percentage is going to go up as some of the other applications. There were a lot that got started that didn't get completed, but the ones that completed, they designated, and we knew that it was a minority-owned business. The vast majority of those were Black-owned businesses, like probably 80 to 90% were Black-owned businesses. So that's what we've seen. And then as far as the transparency, we've got to wait until August 10th when all the businesses know. That's our first priority, is making sure that businesses know if they got funded or not, what's going on there. And then the data will get released, and we're working with the state. And, we want to disclose, how many people applied, what the breakout was, what the percentages were by industry, at least for the top 10 or 12. You can get into minutia. I don't know how far down the scale we'll go on that, but it'll also be about the size of businesses, the size of the grants. And then again, everybody that gets a grant, before they get it, they've got to sign that their name's going to be disclosed. So everybody's got to be, and how much they got. So all of that, we know what happened with PPP. We know what happened with the state initial $61 million fund that the community economic development organizations did. There wasn't a whole lot of transparency. That stuff came and went quickly. And this was specifically in reaction to that as to how we tried to design this so that folks know what's happening. Our big issue, I think, is you said several times, Brandon, is that there's not enough money. The demand has been really strong. We could use many times more multiples, but we don't want to discourage people from applying. We especially don't want to discourage minority-owned businesses from applying, because they've got a good shot at getting some funding.
Thank you very much. All right.
How much of it though? That's what I want to. I want to know how many will receive the 50K. That's my concern.
We won't know. I think that question was answered. We're not going to know until mid.
I know until the results come out. But that's what my concern is based around. Like, how many Black businesses are generating that much revenue to where they'll be able to get the 50K. And I also, my last question, and I'm done. This is to Mark. Mark, do you have a problem with displaying on your website how many loans you've provided for African Americans and how much those loans were for?
No, but we've also got lender confidentiality. So, we can't disclose like names of borrowers, just like you wouldn't want your name disclosed if you were borrowing from PNC Bank. We can't do that unless somebody gives us permission to do it. But we do have stats on our website. I don't know what's up there now, but no, we've displayed that. We talk about the number of loans that we've done historically, what percentage have been.
I'm not asking you to display every name, but the numbers of African.
Yeah, we've done that. And if it's not up right now, it's probably because we've got all this stuff about the grant program that sort of superseded it right now. But
I think that helps. I think that helps, especially for minorities who may be discouraged to sign up. I think these and these CDFIs should show us who they're helping, because why would we even want to apply if we think that we're going to get denied? So I think that would strengthen your organization by letting the people know how many people that you've provided loans for.
That's a fair point. And if it's down right now because of the grant, we'll work with folks who are, we'll work with Chelsea. And it's not like we got a huge staff. There's 5 of us now, but we'll get that back up because we did have that up prior to the grant program starting, and some of the stuff we cut just to get the focus on the grant program. But that's a great suggestion.
All right, good exchange, fellas.
Yeah, definitely appreciate the exchange and the feedback, everyone.
Do we have a couple more minutes, Paris?
I mean, we're actually on the clock until 8, but I mean, if no one else has any other questions, I mean, we can. I wanted to make sure that everyone who was a part of this call, you know, it seems as if everyone had dropped their information in the chat. We're going to leave the actual call open. You know, as people start to log off, we'll leave the, you know, we'll leave it open. The URA will leave it open just so you can grab any sort of information that you need from here. But yeah, I don't think, you know, we have anything else, Vernard.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for being on this very spirited call. Very good information, very good questions came up, and appreciate the URA partnering with me again on this chat. And thank you to all the guest speakers who talked about their organizations and what's going on regarding the COVID-19 recovery.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our special guests.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it. Good luck, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Good evening.